from childhood came back, and I don't want to make a joke out of it, but my hope is built on nothing less than Jesus' blood and righteousness. Now, if you let me spin that a certain way, it works. What it meant in childhood, of course, is Jesus dying on the cross for our sins and so forth. But if you think of Jesus' blood as being the product of empire's murder of him, and if you think of the word righteousness as meaning justice, which is the right translation of it in almost every Bible verse where it appears as righteousness in English, in the Beatitudes, for example, blessed are those who hunger and thirst for righteousness. It should really be blessed are those who hunger and thirst for justice. So to go back to that line, my hope is built on nothing less than Jesus' blood and justice. Then the passion of Jesus, not in the sense of his suffering and death, but his passion for the world. And I draw sustenance from a line attributed to Martin Luther King, who in turn I think got it from Ralph Waldo Emerson, that the moral arc of the universe is long, but it bends toward justice. Now that's fairly abstract and long-term. On a much more immediate here and now level, and in terms of let's see, what we can do about that, those of us who are in congregations, you know, congregations are an extraordinary resource. We already have a network of existing communities. And sometimes, you know, we get discouraged by the church and think the only way forward is to leave it. But my God, well, Dom Crossan and my wife and I and Dom's wife take pilgrimages to Turkey pretty much every year, and it's about Paul and empire. And we're going through the landscapes of Paul and the Roman Empire, and we think of the fact that here Paul is trying to create communities. And most of the communities of Paul were tiny. 24 people, 36 people, small enough that they could meet in a, you know, a shop that's 10 by 20 feet or so. Here is Paul trying to create these little tiny communities. We have a huge network of existing communities. And I think one of the primary tasks for those of us in Christian communities, would work in Jewish communities too, and Muslim communities, is to do consciousness raising at the congregational level about the Bible's passion for justice and peace, as well as for spirituality and individual liberation, so that it's not an either-or thing. And I see some of that happening. And so I'm encouraged by that.